The Project Gutenberg ebook of the Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. Title: The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. Author: Christopher Marlowe. Editor: Alexander Dice. Release date: January 1, 1997. Ebook number 779. Most recently updated, November 18, 2023. Language: English. Credits: produced by Gary R. Young and David Widger. Start of the Project Gutenberg ebook. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe from the Quarto of 1604. Edited by the Reverend Alexander Dice. Dramatis Personae. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. Footnotes: The Tragical History of D. Faustus, as it hath been acted by the Right Honourable the Earl of Nottingham his Saruance. Written by C. H. Marlowe. In reprinting this edition, I have here and there amended the text by means of the later 4 TOS 1616, 1624, 1631 of 4 to 1663, which contains various comparatively modern alterations and additions. I have made no use. Dramatis Personae. The Pope, Cardinal of Lorraine, the Emperor of Germany, Duke of Vanholt, Faustus, Valdez, friends to Faustus, Cornelius, Wagner, servant to Faustus, Clown, Robin, Ralph, Vintner, Horse courser, a knight, an old man. Scholars, friars, and attendants, Duchess of Vanholt. Lucifer, Beelzebub, Mephistopheles, good angel, evil angel, the seven deadly sins, devils, spirits in the shapes of Alexander the Great, of his paramour and of Helen. Chorus. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus from the Quarto of 1604. Enter chorus. Chorus. Not marching now in fields of Thrasymene, where Mars did mate one the Carthaginians, nor sporting in the dalliance of love, in courts of kings where state is overturned, nor in the pomp of proud audacious deeds, intense our muse to vaunt to her three heavenly verse, only this, gentlemen, we must perform the form of Faustus' fortunes, good or bad, to patient judgments we appeal our plaud, and speak for Faustus in his infancy. Now is he born, his parents' base of stock, in Germany, within a town called Rhodes, of riper years, to Württemberg he went, whereas for his kinsmen chiefly brought him up. So soon he profits in divinity, the fruitful plot of scholarism gracked, that shortly he was gracked with doctor's name, excelling all whose sweet delight disputes in heavenly matters of theology, till swoln with cunning five of a self-conceit, his waxen wings did mount above his reach, and, melting, heavens conspurred his overthrow, for, falling to a devilish exercise, and glutted now six with learning's golden gifts, he surfeits upon cursed necromancy, nothing so sweet as magic is to him, which he prefers before his chiefest bliss, and this the man that in his study sits. Exit. Faustus discovered in his study. Point 7. Faustus. Settle thy studies, Faustus, and begin to sound the depth of that thou wilt profess, having comment, be a divine in shew, yet level at the end of every art, and live and die in Aristotle's works. Sweet analytics, 'tis thou aid hast ravished me. Bene dissuarere est finus logics. Is, to dispute well, logic's chiefest end? Affords this art no greater miracle? Then read no more, thou hast attained that 9 end, a greater subject fitteth Faustus wit, bid economy 10 farewell, and 11 Galen come, seeing, ubi desinit philosophus, ibi incipit medicus, be a physician, Faustus, heap up gold, and be eternized for some wondrous cure, summum bonum medicinae sanitas, the end of physic is our body's health. Why, Faustus, hast thou not attained that end? Is not thy common talk found aphorisms? Are not thy bills hung up as monuments, whereby whole cities have escaped the plague, and thousand desperate maladies been east? Yet art thou still but Faustus, and a man. Couldst 12 thou make men 13 to live eternally, or, being dead, raise them to life again, then this profession were to be esteemed. Physic, farewell. Where is Justinian? Reads. S iuna idem gres legator 14 duobus, alter rem, alter valorum rei, and c. A pretty case of paltry legacies. Reads. Exo hereditare filium non potest pater, nisi, and c.15. Such is the subject of the Institute, and universal body of the law. 16. This 17 study fits a mercenary drudge, who aims at nothing but external trash, too servile 18 and illiberal for me. When all is done, divinity is best, Jerome's Bible, Faustus, view it well. Reads. Stipendium picati mors est ha. Stipendium, and c. The reward of sin is death, that's hard. Reads. Si pecus negamus, fallamur, et nulla est in nobis veritas, if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and there's no truth in us. Why, then, belike we must sin, and so consequently die, we must die an everlasting death. What doctrine call you this, che sira, sira 19? What will be, shall be. Divinity, adieu. These metaphysics of magicians, and necromantic books are heavenly, lines, circles, scenes, 20 letters, and characters, these are those that Faustus most desires. Oh, what a world of profit and delight, of power, of honor, of omnipotence, is promised to the studious artisan. All things that move between the quiet poles shall be at my command. Emperors and kings are but obeyed in their several provinces, nor can they raise the wind, or rend the clouds, but his dominion that exceeds in this, stretcheth as far as doth the mind of man. A sound magician is a mighty god. Here, Faustus, tire 21 thy brains to gain a deity. Enter Wagner. 22 Wagner, commend me to my dearest friends, the German Valdez and Cornelius, request them earnestly to visit me. Wagner. I will, sir. Exit. Faustus. Their conference will be a greater help to me than all my labors, plod I ne'er so fast. Enter good angel and evil angel. Good angel. Oh, Faustus, lay that damned book aside, and gaze not on it, lest it tempt thy soul, and heap God's heavy wrath upon thy head. Read the scriptures, that is blasphemy. Evil angel. Go forward, Faustus, in that famous art wherein all nature's treasure 23 is contained, be thou on earth as Jove 24 is in the sky, Lord and Commander of these elements. 25 Exeunt angels. Faustus. How am I glutted with conceit of this! Shall I make spirits fetch me what I please, resolve 26 me of all ambiguities, perform what desperate enterprise I will? I'll have them fly to India for gold, ransack the ocean for orient pearl, and search all corners of the new-found world for pleasant fruits and princely delicates. I'll have them read me strange philosophy, and tell the secrets of all foreign kings. I'll have them wall all Germany with brass, and make swift Rhine circle fair Württemberg. I'll have them fill the public schools with silk 27 wherewith the students shall be bravely clad. I'll levy soldiers with the coin they bring, and chase the Prince of Parma from our land, and reign sole king of all the 28 provinces. Yeah, stranger engines for the brunt of war, than was the fiery keel at Antwerp's bridge 29. I'll make my servile spirits to invent. Enter Valdez and Cornelius. Come, German Valdez, and Cornelius, and make me blessed with your sage conference. Valdez, sweet Valdez, and Cornelius, know that your words have won me at the last to practice magic and concealed arts, yet not your words only 30 but mine own fantasy, that will receive no object, for my head but ruminates on necromantic skill. Philosophy is odious and obscure, both law and physic are for petty wits, divinity is basest of the three, unpleasant, harsh, contemptible, and vile. 31 'Tis magic, magic, that hath ravished me. Then, gentle friends, aid me in this attempt, and I, that have with concise syllogisms 32 gravelled the pastors of the German Church, and made the flowering pride of Württemberg swarm to my problems, as the infernal spirits on sweet Mucius when he came to hell, will be as cunning 33 as Agrippa 34 was, whose shadow 35 made all Europe honor him. Valdez. Faustus, these books, thy wit, and our experience, shall make all nations to canonize us. As Indian Moors obey their Spanish lords, so shall the spirits 36 of every element be always serviceable to us three, like lions shall they guard us when we please, like Alman Rutters 37 with their horsemen's staves, or Lapland giants, trotting by our sides, sometimes like women, or unwed maids, shadowing more beauty in their airy brows than have the 38 white breasts of the Queen of Love. From 39 Venice shall they drag huge argosies, and from America the golden fleece that yearly stuffs old Philip's treasury, if learned Faustus will be resolute. Faustus. Valdez, as resolute am I in this as thou to live, therefore object it not. Cornelius. The miracles that magic will perform will make thee vow to study nothing else. He that is grounded in astrology, enriched with tongues, well seen in 40 minerals, hath all the principles magic doth require, then doubt not, Faustus, but to be renowned 41 and more frequented for this mystery than heretofore the Delphian oracle. The spirits tell me they can dry the sea, and fetch the treasure of all foreign wrecks, all the wealth that our forefathers hid within the massy entrails of the earth. Then tell me, Faustus, what shall we three want? Faustus. Nothing, Cornelius. Oh, this cheers my soul. Come, shew me some demonstrations magical, that I may conjure in some lusty grove, and have these joys in full possession. Valdez. Then haste thee to some solitary grove, and bear wise Bacon's and Albertus 42 works, the Hebrew Psalter, and New Testament, and whatsoever else is requisite we will inform thee ere our conference cease. Cornelius. Valdez, first let him know the words of art, and then, all other ceremonies learned, Faustus may try his cunning 43 by himself. Valdez. First I'll instruct thee in the rudiments, and then wilt thou be perfecter than I. Faustus. Then come and dine with me, and, after meat, we'll canvass every quiddity thereof, for, ere I sleep, I'll try what I can do, this night I'll conjure, though I die therefore. Exeunt. Enter 2 scholars. 44 First Scholar. I wonder what's become of Faustus, that was wont to make our schools ring with sic probo. Second Scholar. That shall we know, for see, here comes his boy. Enter Wagner. First Scholar. How now, sirrah? Where's thy master? Wagner. God in heaven knows. Second Scholar. Why, dost not thou know? Wagner. Yes, I know, but that follows not. First Scholar. Go to, Sirrah. Leave your jesting, and tell us where he is. Wagner. That follows not necessary by force of argument, that you, being licentiates, should stand upon 45. Therefore acknowledge your error, and be attentive. Second Scholar. Why, didst thou not say thou knewest? Wagner. Have you any witness on t? First Scholar. Yes, Sirrah, I heard you. Wagner. Ask my fellow if I be a thief. Second Scholar. Well, you will not tell us. Wagner. Yes, sir, I will tell you, yet, if you were not dunces, you would never ask me such a question, for is not he corpus natural? And is not that mobile? Then wherefore should you ask me such a question? But that I am by nature phlegmatic, slow to wrath, and prone to lechery, to love, I would say, it were not for you to come within 40 foot of the place of execution, although I do not doubt to see you both hanged the next sessions. Thus having triumphed over you, I will set my countenance like a precision, and begin to speak thus truly, my dear brethren, my master is within at dinner with Valdez and Cornelius, as this wine, if it could speak, would 46 inform your worships, and so, the Lord bless you, preserve you, and keep you, my dear brethren, 47 Exit. First Scholar. Nay, then, I fear he is fallen into that damned art for which they too are infamous through the world. Second Scholar. Were he a stranger, and not allied to me, yet should I grieve for him. But, come, let us go and inform the rector, and see if he by his grave counsel can reclaim him. First Scholar. Oh, but I fear me nothing can reclaim him. Second Scholar. Yet let us try what we can do. Exeunt. Enter Faustus to conjure. 48 Faustus. Now that the gloomy shadow of the earth, longing to view Orion's drizzling look, leaps from th Antarctic world unto the sky, and dims the welkin with her pitchy breath, Faustus, begin thine incantations, and try if devils will obey thy hest, seeing thou hast prayed and sacrificed to them. Within this circle is Jehovah's name, forward and backward anagrammatized 49 th abbreviated 50 names of holy saints, figures of every adjunct to the heavens, and characters of signs and erring 51 stars, by which the spirits are inforked to rise. Then fear not, Faustus, but be resolute, and try the uttermost magic can perform sint me idea curandis perpiti. Velit numen triplex Jehovo. Igne, arii, aquitani spiritus, salvat. Orientis princeps Belzebub, inferni ardentis monarcha, et demagorgon, propitiamus vos, ut aperiat et surgat Mephistopheles, quad tumeraris 52 per Jehovum, Gehennam, et consecratum aquam quam nunc spargo, sinum crucis quad nunc facio, et pervotum nostra, ipsi nunc surgat nobis Ducatus 53 Mephistopheles. Enter Mephistopheles. I charge thee to return, and change thy shape, thou art too ugly to attend on me, go, and return an old Franciscan friar, that holy shape becomes a devil best. Exit Mephistopheles. I see there's virtue in my heavenly words, who would not be proficient in this art. How pliant is this Mephistopheles, full of obedience and humility. Such is the force of magic and my spells. No, Faustus, thou art conjurer laureate, that canst command great Mephistopheles, quin regis Mephistopheles fratries imagine. Re-enter Mephistopheles like a Franciscan friar. 54 Mephist. Now, Faustus, what wouldst thou have me do? Faustus. I charge thee wait upon me whilst I live, to do whatever Faustus shall command, be it to make the moon drop from her sphere, or the ocean to overwhelm the world. Mephist. I am a servant to great Lucifer, and may not follow thee without his leave, no more than he commands must we perform. Faustus. Did not he charge thee to appear to me? Mephist. No, I came hither 55 of mine own accord. Faustus. Did not my conjuring speeches raise thee? Speak. Mephist. That was the cause, but yet per accidens, 56:4, when we hear one rack the name of God, abjure the scriptures and his Saviour Christ, we fly, in hope to get his glorious soul, nor will we come, unless he use such means whereby he is in danger to be damned. Therefore the shortest cut for conjuring is stoutly to abjure the Trinity, and pray devoutly to the Prince of Hell. Faustus. So Faustus hath already done, and holds this principle, there is no chief but only Beelzebub, to whom Faustus doth dedicate himself. This word damnation terrifies not him, for he confounds hell in Elysium, his ghost be with the old philosophers. But, leaving these vain trifles of men's souls, tell me what is that Lucifer thy lord? Mephist. Archregent and commander of all spirits. Faustus. Was not that Lucifer an angel once? Mephist. Yes, Faustus, and most dearly loved of God. Faustus. How comes it, then, that he is prince of devils? Mephist. Oh, by aspiring pride and insolence, for which God threw him from the face of heaven. Faustus. And what are you that live with Lucifer? Mephist. Unhappy spirits that fell with Lucifer, conspired against our God with Lucifer, and are forever damned with Lucifer. Faustus. Where are you damned? Mephist. In hell. Faustus. How comes it, then, that thou art out of hell? Mephist. Why, this is hell, nor am I out of it. 57 Thinkest thou that I, who saw the face of God, and tasted the eternal joys of heaven, am not tormented with 10,000 hells, in being deprived of everlasting bliss? Oh, Faustus, leave these frivolous demands, which strike a terror to my fainting soul. Faustus. What, is great Mephistopheles so passionate for being deprived of the joys of heaven? Learn thou of Faustus' manly fortitude, and scorn those joys thou never shalt possess. Go bear these 58 tidings to great Lucifer, seeing Faustus hath incurred eternal death by desperate thoughts against Jove's 59 deity, say, he surrenders up to him his soul, so he will spare him 24 60 years, letting him live in all voluptuousness, having thee ever to attend on me, to give me whatsoever I shall ask, to tell me whatsoever I demand, to slay mine enemies, and aid my friends, and always be obedient to my will. Go and return to mighty Lucifer, and meet me in my study at midnight, and then resolve 61 me of thy master's mind. Mephist. I will, Faustus. Exit. Faustus. Had I as many souls as there be stars, I'd give them all for Mephistopheles. By him I'll be great emperor of the world, and make a bridge thorough 62 the moving air, to pass the ocean with a band of men. I'll join the hills that bind the Afric shore, and make that country 63 continent to Spain, and both contributory to my crown. The emperor shall not live but by my leave, nor any potentate of Germany. Now that I have obtained what I desired 64, I'll live in speculation of this art, till Mephistopheles return again. Exit. Enter Wagner 65 and Clown. Wagner. Sirrah boy, come hither. Clown. How, boy? Swounds, boy. I hope you have seen many boys with such picadivants 66 as I have, boy, quotha. Wagner. Tell me, Sirrah, Hast thou any combings in? Clown. Ay, and goings out too, you may see else. Wagner. Alas, poor slave! See how poverty jesteth in his nakedness. The villain is bare and out of service, and so hungry, that I know he would give his soul to the devil for a shoulder of mutton, though it were blood raw. Clown. How? My soul to the devil for a shoulder of mutton, though 'twere blood raw. Not so, good friend, by Our Lady 67 I had need have it well roasted, and good sauce to it, if I pay so dear. Wagner. Well, wilt thou serve me, and I'll make thee go like Kimi Discipulus, 68 Clown. How, in verse? Wagner. No, sirrah, in beaten silk and staves acre. 69 Clown. How, knave's acre? I thought that was all the land his father left him. Do you hear? I would be sorry to rob you of your living. Wagner. Sirrah, I say in staves acre. Clown. Oh ho, staves acre. Why, then, belike, if I were your man, I should be full of vermin. 70 Wagner. So thou shalt, whether thou beest with me or no. But, sirrah, leave your jesting, and bind yourself presently unto me for 7 years, or I'll turn all the lice about thee into familiar 71 and they shall tear thee in pieces. Clown. Do you hear, sir? You may save that labor, they are too familiar with me already, swounds, they are as bold with my flesh as if they had paid for their 72 meat and drink. Wagner. Well, do you hear, sirrah? Hold, take these guilders. Gives money. Clown. Gridirons. What be they? Wagner. Why, French crowns. Clown. Mass, but for the name of French crowns, a man were as good have as many English counters. And what should I do with these? Wagner. Why, now, sirrah, thou art at an hour's warning, whensoever or wheresoever the devil shall fetch thee. Clown. No, here, take your gridirons again. Wagner. Truly, I'll none of them. Clown. Truly, but you shall. Wagner. Bear witness I gave them him. Clown. Bear witness I give them you again. Wagner. Well, I will cause 2 devils presently to fetch thee away, Belial and Belcher. Clown. Let your Belial and your Belcher come here, and I'll knock them, they were never so knocked since they were devils. Say I should kill one of them, what would folks say? Do ye see yonder tall fellow in the round slop, 73, he has killed the devil. So I should be called Kill Devil all the parish over. Enter 2 devils, and the clown runs up and down crying. Wagner. Belial and Belcher spirits, away. Exeunt devils. Clown. What, are they gone? A vengeance on them. They have vile 74 long nails. There was a he-devil and a she-devil, I'll tell you how you shall know them, all he-devils has horns, and all she-devils has clifts and cloven feet. Wagner. Well, sirrah, follow me. Clown. But, do you hear? If I should serve you, would you teach me to raise up Banios and Belchios? Wagner. I will teach thee to turn thyself to anything, to a dog, or a cat, or a mouse, or a rat, or anything. Clown. How? A Christian fellow to a dog, or a cat, a mouse, or a rat? No, sir, if you turn me into anything, let it be in the likeness of a little pretty frisking flea, that I may be here and there and everywhere. Oh, I'll tickle the pretty wench's plackets. I'll be amongst them, I faith. Wagner. Well, sirrah, come. Clown. But, do you hear, Wagner? Wagner. How, Belial and Belcher? Clown. O Lord. I pray, sir, let Banio and Belcher go sleep. Wagner. Villain, call me Master Wagner, and let thy left eye be diametrally fixed upon my right heel, with quasi vestigius nostris 75 insistera. Exit. Clown. God forgive me, he speaks Dutch fustian. Well, I'll follow him, I'll serve him, that's flat. Exit. Faustus discovered in his study. Faustus. Now, Faustus, must thou needs be damned, and canst thou not be saved, what boots it, then, to think of God or heaven? Away with such vain fancies, and despair in God, and trust in Beelzebub. Now go not backward, no, Faustus, be resolute, why waver st thou? Oh, something soundeth in mine ears, abjure this magic, turn to God again. I, and Faustus will turn to God again. To God. He loves thee not, the God thou servest is thine own appetite, wherein is fixed the love of Beelzebub. To him I'll build an altar and a church, and offer lukewarm blood of newborn babes. Enter good angel and evil angel. Good angel. Sweet Faustus, leave that execrable art. Faustus. Contrition, prayer, repentance, what of them? Good angel. Oh, they are means to bring thee unto heaven. Evil angel. Rather illusions, fruits of lunacy, that make men foolish that do trust them most. Good angel. Sweet Faustus, think of heaven and heavenly things. Evil angel. No, Faustus, think of honor and of 76 wealth. Exeunt angels. Faustus. Of wealth. Why, the seigneury of Emden shall be mine. When Mephistopheles shall stand by me, what god can hurt thee, Faustus? Thou art safe, cast no more doubts. Come, Mephistopheles, and bring glad tidings from great Lucifer. Is not midnight? Come, Mephistopheles, Veni, Mephistophile. Enter Mephistopheles. Now tell me 77 what says Lucifer, thy lord? Mephist. That I shall wait on Faustus whilst he lives. 78 so he will buy my service with his soul. Faustus. Already Faustus hath hazarded that for thee. Mephist. But, Faustus, thou must bequeath it solemnly, and write a deed of gift with thine own blood, for that security craves great Lucifer. If thou deny it, I will back to hell. Faustus. Stay, Mephistopheles, and tell me, what good will my soul do thy lord? Mephist. Enlarge his kingdom. Faustus. Is that the reason why 79 he tempts us thus? Mephist. Soleman miseris socios habis doloris. 80 Faustus. Why 81 have you any pain that torture 82 others? Mephist. As great as have the human souls of men. But, tell me, Faustus, shall I have thy soul? And I will be thy slave, and wait on thee, and give thee more than thou hast wit to ask. Faustus. I, Mephistopheles, I give it thee. Mephist. Then, Faustus 83 stab thine arm courageously, and bind thy soul, that at some certain day great Lucifer may claim it as his own, and then be thou as great as Lucifer. Faustus. Stabbing his arm low, Mephistopheles, for love of thee, I cut mine arm, and with my proper blood assure my soul to be great Lucifer's chief lord and regent of perpetual night. View here the blood that trickles from mine arm, and let it be propitious for my wish. Mephist. But, Faustus, thou must write it in manner of a deed of gift. Faustus. So I will writes. But, Mephistopheles, my blood congeals, and I can write no more. Mephist. I'll fetch thee fire to dissolve it straight. Exit. Faustus. What might the staying of my blood portend? Is it unwilling I should write this bill? 84. Why streams it not, that I may write afresh? Faustus gives to thee his soul, there it stayed. Why shouldst thou not? Is not thy soul shine own? Then write again, Faustus gives to thee his soul. Re-enter Mephistopheles with a chafer of coals. Mephist. Here's fire, come, Faustus, set it on point. 85. Faustus. So, now the blood begins to clear again, now will I make an end immediately. Writes. Mephist. Oh, what will not I do to obtain his soul? Aside. Faustus. Consummatum est, this bill is ended, and Faustus hath bequeathed his soul to Lucifer. But what is this inscription? 86. On mine arm. Homo, fuge, whither should I fly? If unto God, he'll throw me. 87. Down to hell. My senses are deceived, here's nothing writ, I see it plain, here in this place is writ, Homo, fuge, yet shall not Faustus fly. Mephist. I'll fetch him somewhat to delight his mind. Aside, and then exit. Re-enter Mephistopheles with devils, who give crowns and rich apparel to Faustus, dance, and then depart. Faustus. Speak, Mephistopheles, what means this show? Mephist. Nothing, Faustus, but to delight thy mind withal, and to shew thee what magic can perform. Faustus. But may I raise up spirits when I please? Mephist. Faustus, and do greater things than these. Faustus. Then there's enough for 1,000 souls. Here, Mephistopheles, receive this scroll, a deed of gift of body and of soul, but yet conditionally that thou perform all articles prescribed between us both. Mephist. Faustus, I swear by hell and Lucifer to effect all promises between us made. Faustus. Then hear me read them. Reads on these conditions following. First, that Faustus may be a spirit in form and substance. Secondly, that Mephistopheles shall be his servant, and at his command. Thirdly, that Mephistopheles shall do for him, and bring him whatsoever he desires. 88. Fourthly, that he shall be in his chamber or house invisible. Lastly, that he shall appear to the said John Faustus, at all times, in what form or shape soever he please. I, John Faustus, of Württemberg, Doctor, by these presents, do give both body and soul to Lucifer Prince of the East, and his minister Mephistopheles, and furthermore grant unto them, that 89 24 years being expired, the articles above written inviolate, full power to fetch or carry the said John Faustus, body and soul, flesh, blood, or goods, into their habitation wheresoever. By me, John Faustus. Mephist. Speak, Faustus, do you deliver this as your deed? Faustus. Take it, and the devil give thee good on't. Mephist. Now, Faustus, ask what thou wilt. Faustus. First will I question with thee about hell. Tell me, where is the place that men call hell? Mephist. Under the heavens. Faustus. But where about? Mephist. Within the bowels of these 90 elements, where we are tortured and remain forever. Hell hath no limits, nor is circumscribed in one self place, for where we are is hell, and where hell is, there 91 must we ever be, and, to conclude, when all the world dissolves, and every creature shall be purified, all places shall be hell that are 92 not heaven. Faustus. Come, I think hell's a fable. Mephist. I think so still, till experience change thy mind. Faustus. Why, thinkest thou, then, that Faustus shall be damned? Mephist. I, of necessity, for here's the scroll wherein thou hast given thy soul to Lucifer. Faustus. I, and body too, but what of that? Thinkest thou that Faustus is so fond 93 to imagine that, after this life, there is any pain? Tush, these are trifles and mere old wives' tales. Mephist. But, Faustus, I am an instance to prove the contrary, for I am damned, and am now in hell. Faustus. How? Now in hell? Nay, and this be hell, I'll willingly be damned here. What? Walking, disputing, and c.94. But, leaving off this, let me have a wife 95, the fairest maid in Germany, for I am wanton and lascivious, and cannot live without a wife. Mephist. How? A wife? I prithee, Faustus, talk not of a wife. Faustus. Nay, sweet Mephistopheles, fetch me one, for I will have one. Mephist. Well, thou wilt have one? Sit there till I come, I'll fetch thee a wife in the devil's name. Exit. Re-enter Mephistopheles with the devil dressed like a woman, with fireworks. Mephist. Tell me 96 Faustus, how dost thou like thy wife? Faustus. A plague on her for a hot whore. Mephist. Tut, Faustus, marriage is but a ceremonial toy, if thou lovest me, think no 97 more of it. I'll cull thee out the fairest courtesans, and bring them every morning to thy bed, she whom thine eye shall like, thy heart shall have, be she as chaste as was Penelope, as wise as Saba 98, or as beautiful as was bright Lucifer before his fall. Hold, take this book, peruse it thoroughly. Gives book. The iterating 99 of these lines brings gold, the framing of the circle on the ground brings whirlwinds, tempests, thunder, and lightning. Pronounce this thrice devoutly to thyself, and men in armor shall appear to thee, ready to execute what thou desirest. Faustus. Thanks, Mephistopheles, yet fain would I have a book wherein I might behold all spells and incantations, that I might raise up spirits when I please. Mephist. Here they are in this book. Turns to them. Faustus. Now would I have a book where I might see all characters and planets of the heavens, that I might know their motions and dispositions. Mephist. Here they are too. Turns to them. Faustus. Nay, let me have one book more, and then I have done, wherein I might see all plants, herbs, and trees, that grow upon the earth. Mephist. Here they be. Faustus. Oh, thou art deceived. Mephist. Tut, I warrant thee. Turns to them. Faustus. When I behold the heavens, then I repent, and curse thee, wicked Mephistopheles, because thou hast deprived me of those joys. Mephist. Why, Faustus, thinkest thou heaven is such a glorious thing? I tell thee, 'tis not half so fair as thou, or any man that breathes on earth. Faustus. How provest thou that? Mephist. 'Twas made for man, therefore is man more excellent. Faustus. If it were made for man, 'twas made for me, I will renounce this magic and repent. Enter good angel and evil angel. Good angel. Faustus, repent, yet God will pity thee. Evil angel. Thou art a spirit, God cannot pity thee. Faustus. Who buzzeth in mine ears I am a spirit. Be I a devil, yet God may pity me, God will pity me, if I repent. Evil angel. But Faustus never shall repent. Exeunt angels. Faustus. My heart so hardened, I cannot repent, scarce can I name salvation, faith, or heaven, but fearful echoes thunder in mine ears. Faustus, thou art damned, then swords, and knives, poison, guns, halters, and envenomed steel are laid before me to dispatch myself, and long ere this I should have slain myself, had not sweet pleasure conquered deep despair. Have not I made blind Homer sing to me of Alexander's love and Enon's death? And hath not he, that built the walls of Thebes with ravishing sound of his melodious harp, made music with my Mephistopheles? Why should I die, then, or basely despair? I am resolved, Faustus shall ne'er repent. Come, Mephistopheles, let us dispute again, and argue of divine astrology. 100 Tell me, are there many heavens above the moon? Are all celestial bodies but one globe, as is the substance of this centric earth? Mephist. As are the elements, such are the spheres, mutually folded in each other's orb, and, Faustus, all jointly move upon one axle tree, whose terminine is termed the world's wide pole, nor are the names of Saturn, Mars, or Jupiter feigned, but are erring 101 stars. Faustus. But, tell me, have they all one motion, both situ et tempore? Mephist. All jointly move from east to west in 24 hours upon the poles of the world, but differ in their motion upon the poles of the zodiac. Faustus. Tush, these slender trifles Wagner can decide, hath Mephistopheles no greater skill? Who knows not the double motion of the planets? The first is finished in a natural day, the second thus, as Saturn in 30 years, Jupiter in 12, Mars in 4, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in a year, the Moon in 28 days. Tush, these are freshman S102 suppositions. But, tell me, hath every sphere a dominion or intelligentia? Mephist. I. Faustus. How many heavens or spheres are there? Mephist. 9, the 7 planets, the firmament, and the empyreal heaven. Faustus. Well, resolve 103 me in this question, why have we not conjunctions, oppositions, aspects, eclipses, all at one time, but in some years we have more, in some less? Mephist. Per inno equilem modum respectitotius. Faustus. Well, I am answered. Tell me who made the world? Mephist. I will not. Faustus. Sweet Mephistopheles, tell me. Mephist. Move me not, for I will not tell thee. Faustus. Villain, have I not bound thee to tell me anything? Mephist. That is not against our kingdom, but this is. Think thou on hell, Faustus, for thou art damned. Faustus. Think, Faustus, upon God that made the world. Mephist. Remember this. Exit. Faustus. Go, accursed spirit, to ugly hell. 'Tis thou hast damned distressed Faustus' soul. Is 't not too late? Re-enter good angel and evil angel. Evil angel. Too late. Good angel. Never too late, if Faustus can repent. Evil angel. If thou repent, devils shall tear thee in pieces. Good angel. Repent, and they shall never raise thy skin. Exeunt angels. Faustus. Ah, Christ, my Saviour, seek to save 104 distressed Faustus' soul. Enter Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Mephistopheles. Lucifer. Christ cannot save thy soul, for he is just, there's none but I have interest in the same. Faustus. Oh, who art thou that lookest so terrible? Lucifer. I am Lucifer, and this is my companion prince in hell. Faustus. Oh, Faustus, they are come to fetch away thy soul. Lucifer. We come to tell thee thou dost injure us, thou talkest of Christ, contrary to thy promise, thou shouldst not think of God, think of the devil, and of his dam too. Faustus. Nor will I henceforth, pardon me in this, and Faustus vows never to look to heaven, never to name God, or to pray to him, to burn his scriptures, slay his ministers, and make my spirits pull his churches down. Lucifer. Do so, and we will highly gratify thee. Faustus, we are come from hell to shew thee some pastime, sit down, and thou shalt see all the 7 deadly sins appear in their proper shapes. Faustus. That sight will be as pleasing unto me, as paradise was to Adam, the first day of his creation. Lucifer. Talk not of paradise nor creation, but mark this show, talk of the devil, and nothing else come away. Enter the 7 deadly sins. 105 Now, Faustus, examine them of their several names and dispositions. Faustus. What art thou, the first? Pride. I am pride. I disdain to have any parents. I am like to Ovid's flea, I can creep into every corner of a wench, sometimes, like a periwig, I sit upon her brow, or, like a fan of feathers, I kiss her lips, indeed, I do what do I not? But, fie, what a scent is here! I'll not speak another word, except the ground were perfumed, and covered with cloth of arras. Faustus. What art thou, the second? Covetousness. I am covetousness, begotten of an old churl, in an old leathern bag, and, might I have my wish, I would desire that this house and all the people in it were turned to gold, that I might lock you up in my good chest, oh, my sweet gold. Faustus. What art thou, the third? Wrath. I am wrath. I had neither father nor mother, I leapt out of a lion's mouth when I was scarce half an hour old, and ever since I have run up and down the world with this case 106 of rapiers, wounding myself when I had nobody to fight withal. I was born in hell, and look to it, for some of you shall be my father. Faustus. What art thou, the fourth? Envy. I am envy, begotten of a chimney sweeper and an oyster wife. I cannot read, and therefore wish all books were burnt. I am lean with seeing others eat. Oh, that there would come a famine through all the world, that all might die, and I live alone. Then thou shouldst see how fat I would be. But must thou sit, and I stand? Come down, with a vengeance. Faustus. Away, envious rascal, what art thou, the fifth? Gluttony. Who I, sir? I am gluttony. My parents are all dead, and the devil a penny they have left me, but a bare pension, and that is 30 meals a day and 10 beavers 107 a small trifle to suffice nature. Oh, I come of a royal parentage. My grandfather was a gammon of bacon, my grandmother a hogshead of claret wine, my godfathers were these, Peter Pickle Herring and Martin Martelmas beef. Oh, but my godmother, she was a jolly gentlewoman, and well beloved in every good town and city, her name was Mistress Marjorie Marchbeer. Now, Faustus, thou hast heard all my progeny, wilt thou bid me to supper? Faustus. No, I'll see thee hanged, thou wilt eat up all my victuals. Gluttony. Then the devil choked thee. Faustus. Choke thyself, glutton, what art thou, the sixth? Sloth. I am sloth. I was begotten on a sunny bank, where I have lain ever since, and you have done me great injury to bring me from thence, let me be carried thither again by gluttony and lechery. I'll not speak another word for a king's ransom. Faustus. What are you, Mistress Minx, the seventh and last? Lechery. Who I, sir? I am one that loves an inch of raw mutton better than an ell of fried stockfish, and the first letter of my name begins with L.108 Faustus. Away, to hell, 109 exeunt the sins. Lucifer. Now, Faustus, how dost thou like this? Faustus. Oh, this feeds my soul. Lucifer. Tut, Faustus, in hell is all manner of delight. Faustus. Oh, might I see hell, and return again, how happy were I then. Lucifer. Thou shalt, I will send for thee at midnight. 110 In meantime take this book, peruse it thoroughly, and thou shalt turn thyself into what shape thou wilt. Faustus. Great thanks, mighty Lucifer. This will I keep as chary as my life. Lucifer. Farewell, Faustus, and think on the devil. Faustus. Farewell, great Lucifer. Exeunt Lucifer and Beelzebub. Come, Mephistopheles. Exeunt. Enter Chorus. 111 Chorus. Learned Faustus, to know the secrets of astronomy. 112 Graven in the book of Job's high firmament, did mount himself to scale Olympus' top, being seated in a chariot burning bright, drawn by the strength of yoky dragons' necks. He now is gone to prove cosmography, and, as I guess, will first arrive at Rome, to see the Pope and manner of his court, and take some part of Holy Peter's feast, that to this day is highly solemnized. Exit. Enter Faustus and Mephistopheles. 113 Faustus. Having now, my good Mephistopheles, passed with delight the stately town of Trier. 114 Environed round with airy mountain tops, with walls of flint, and deep entrenched lakes, not to be won by any conquering prince, from Paris next. 115 Coasting the realm of France, we saw the river Main fall into Rhine, whose banks are set with groves of fruitful vines, then up to Naples, rich Campania, whose buildings fair and gorgeous to the eye, the streets straight forth, and paved with finest brick. Quarter the town in 4 equivalents, there saw we learned Marlowe's golden tomb, the way he cut 116 an English mile in length, thorough a rock of stone, in one night's space, from thence to Venice, Padua, and the rest, in one of which a sumptuous temple stands. 117 that threats the stars with her aspiring top. Thus hitherto hath Faustus spent his time, but tell me now what resting place is this? Hast thou, as erst I did command, conducted me within the walls of Rome? Mephist. Faustus, I have, and, because we will not be unprovided, I have taken up his holiness' privy chamber for our use. Faustus. I hope his holiness will bid us welcome. Mephist. Tut, 'tis no matter, man, will be bold with his good cheer. And now, my Faustus, that thou mayst perceive what Rome containeth to delight thee with, know that this city stands upon 7 hills that underprop the groundwork of the same, just through the midst 118 runs flowing Tiber's stream with winding banks that cut it in 2 parts, over the which 4 stately bridges lean, that make safe passage to each part of Rome. Upon the bridge called Ponte 119 Angelo erected is a castle passing strong, within whose walls such store of ordnance are, and double cannons framed of carved brass, as match the days within one complete year, besides the gates, and high pyramids, which Julius Caesar brought from Africa. Faustus. Now, by the kingdoms of infernal rule, of Styx, of 120 Acheron, and the fiery lake of ever-burning Phlegethon, I swear that I do long to see the monuments and situation of bright splendent Rome. Come, therefore, let's away. Mephist. Nay, Faustus, stay, I know you'd fain see the Pope, and take some part of Holy Peter's feast, where thou shalt see a troop of bald-pate friars, whose summum bonum is in belly cheer. Faustus. Well, I'm content to compass then some sport, and by their folly make us merriment. Then charm me, that I 121 may be invisible, to do what I please, unseen of any whilst I stay in Rome. Mephistopheles charms him. Mephist. So, Faustus, now do what thou wilt, thou shalt not be discerned. Sound a sonnet. 122. Enter the Pope and the Cardinal of Lorraine to the banquet, with friars attending. Pope. My Lord of Lorraine, will't he please you draw near? Faustus. Fall to, and the devil choke you, and you spare. Pope. How now? Who's that which spake? Friars, look about. First Friar. Here's nobody, if it like your holiness. Pope. My lord, here is a dainty dish was sent me from the Bishop of Milan. Faustus. I thank you, sir. Snatches the dish. Pope. How now? Who's that which snatched the meat from me? Will no man look, my lord, this dish was sent me from the Cardinal of Florence. Faustus. You say true, I'll haughty. Snatches the dish. Pope. What, again, my lord, I'll drink to your grace. Faustus. I'll pledge your grace. Snatches the cup. Sea of lore. My lord, it may be some ghost, newly crept out of purgatory, come to beg a pardon of your holiness. Pope. It may be so. Friars, prepare a dirge to lay the fury of this ghost once again, my lord, fall to. The Pope crosses himself. Faustus. What, are you crossing of yourself? Well, use that trick no more, I would advise you. The Pope crosses himself again. Well, there's the second time. Aware the third, I give you fair warning. The Pope crosses himself again, and Faustus hits him a box of the ear, and they all run away. Come on, Mephistopheles, what shall we do? Mephist. Nay, I know not, we shall be cursed with bell, book, and candle. Faustus. How? Bell, book, and candle, candle, book, and bell forward and backward, to curse Faustus to hell. Anon you shall hear a hog grunt, a calf bleat, and an ass bray, because it is St. Peter's holiday. Re-enter all the friars to sing the dirge. First Friar. Come, brethren, let's about our business with good devotion. They sing. Cursed be he that stole away his holiness meat from the table. Maledicat Dominus. Cursed be he that struck his holiness a blow on the face. Maledicat Dominus. Cursed be he that took Friar Sandalo a blow on the pate. Maledicat Dominus. Cursed be he that disturbeth our holy dirge. Maledicat Dominus. Cursed be he that took away his holiness wine. Maledicat Dominus. Sic et omnes sancti. Amen. Mephistopheles and Faustus beat the friars, and fling fireworks among them, and so exeunt. Enter Chorus. Chorus. When Faustus had with pleasure ta'en the view of rarest things, and royal courts of kings, he stayed his course, and so returned home, where such as bear his absence but with grief, I mean his friends and near st companions, did gratulate his safety with kind words, and in their conference of what befell, touching his journey through the world and air, they put forth questions of astrology, which Faustus answered with such learned skill as they admired and wondered at his wit. Now is his fame spread forth in every land, amongst the rest the emperor is one, Carolus the fifth, at whose palace now Faustus is feasted mongst his noblemen. What there he did, in trial of his art, I leave untold, your eyes shall see t performed. Exit. Enter Robin 123 the ostler, with a book in his hand. Robin. Oh, this is admirable. Here I ha stolen one of Dr. Faustus' conjuring books, and, I faith, I mean to search some circles for my own use. Now will I make all the maidens in our parish dance at my pleasure, stark naked, before me, and so by that means I shall see more than I felt or saw yet. Enter Ralph, calling Robin. Ralph. Robin, prithee, come away, there's a gentleman tarries to have his horse, and he would have his things rubbed and made clean, he keeps such a chafing with my mistress about it, and she has sent me to look thee out, prithee, come away. Robin. Keep out, or else you are blown up, you are dismembered, Ralph, keep out, for I am about a roaring piece of work. Ralph. Come, what doest thou with that same book? Thou canst not read? Robin. Yes, my master and mistress shall find that I can read, he for his forehead, she for her private study, she's born to bear with me, or else my art fails. Ralph. Why, Robin, what book is that? Robin. What book? Why, the most intolerable book for conjuring that was invented by any brimstone devil. Ralph. Canst thou conjure with it? Robin. I can do all these things easily with it. First, I can make thee drunk with Hippocras 124 at any tavern 125 in Europe for nothing, that's one of my conjuring works. Ralph. Our master parson says that's nothing. Robin. True, Ralph, and more, Ralph, if thou hast any mind to Nan Spit, our kitchen maid, then turn her and wind her to thy own use, as often as thou wilt, and at midnight. Ralph. Oh, brave, Robin. Shall I have Nan Spit, and to mine own use? On that condition I'll feed thy devil with horse bread as long as he lives, of free cost. Robin. No more, sweet Ralph, let's go and make clean our boots, which lie foul upon our hands, and then to our conjuring in the devil's name. Exeunt. Enter Robin and Ralph 126 with a silver goblet. Robin. Come, Ralph, did not I tell thee, we were forever made by this Dr. Faustus book? Ecce, signum. Here's a simple purchase 127 for horse keepers, our horses shall eat no hay as long as this lasts. Ralph. But, Robin, here comes the vintner. Robin. Hush. I'll gull him supernaturally. Enter vintner. Drawer 128 I hope all is paid, God be with you, come, Ralph. Vintner. Soft, sir, a word with you. I must yet have a goblet paid from you, ere you go. Robin. I a goblet, Ralph, I a goblet, I scorn you, and you are but a, and see. I a goblet. Search me. Vintner. I mean so, sir, with your favor. Searches Robin. Robin. How say you now? Vintner. I must say somewhat to your fellow you, sir. Ralph. Me, sir. Me, sir. Search your fill. Vintner searches him. Now, sir, you may be ashamed to burden honest men with a matter of truth. Vintner. Well, tone 129 of you hath this goblet about you. Robin. You lie, drawer, 'tis afore me aside. Sirrah, you, I'll teach you to impeach honest men. Stand by, I'll scour you for a goblet. Stand aside, you had best. I charge you in the name of Beelzebub, look to the goblet. Ralph aside to Ralph. Vintner. What mean you, sirrah? Robin. I'll tell you what I mean. Reads from a book Sanctabulorum Periphrasticon, nay, I'll tickle you. Vintner, look to the goblet. Ralph aside to Ralph. Reads Polypragmos Belceberams Fermanto Pacosta Faustastu, Mephistopheles, and see enter Mephistophilis, set squibs at their backs, and then exit. They run about. Vintner. Oh, nomine domini. What meanest thou, Robin? Thou hast no goblet. Ralph. Peccatum peccatorum, here's thy goblet, good Vintner. Gives the goblet to Vintner, who exit. Robin. Misericordia pro nobis. What shall I do? Good devil, forgive me now, and I'll never rob thy library more. Re-enter Mephistophilis. Mephist. Monarch of hell 130, under whose black survey great potentates do kneel with awful fear, upon whose altars thousand souls do lie. How am I vexed with these villains' charms! From Constantinople am I hither come, only for pleasure of these damned slaves. Robin. How, from Constantinople? You have had a great journey. Will you take sixpence in your purse to pay for your supper, and be gone? Mephist. Well, villains, for your presumption, I transform thee into an ape, and thee into a dog, and so be gone. Exit. Robin. How, into an ape? That's brave. I'll have fine sport with the boys. I'll get nuts and apples enow. Ralph. And I must be a dog. Robin. I faith, thy head will never be out of the pottage pot. Exeunt. Enter Emperor 131 Faustus and a knight, with attendants. Emperor. Master Dr. Faustus 132, I have heard strange report of thy knowledge in the black art, how that none in my empire nor in the whole world can compare with thee for the rare effects of magic. They say thou hast a familiar spirit, by whom thou canst accomplish what thou list. This, therefore, is my request, that thou let me see some proof of thy skill, that mine eyes may be witnesses to confirm what mine ears have heard reported. And here I swear to thee, by the honor of mine imperial crown, that, whatever thou doest, thou shalt be no ways prejudiced or endomaggot. Knight. I faith, he looks much like a conjurer. Aside. Faustus. My gracious sovereign, though I must confess myself far inferior to the report men have published, and nothing answerable to the honor of your imperial majesty, yet, for that love and duty binds me thereunto, I am content to do whatsoever your majesty shall command me. Emperor. Then, Dr. Faustus, mark what I shall say. As I was sometime solitary set within my closet, sundry thoughts arose about the honor of mine ancestors, how they had won 133 by prowess such exploits, got such riches, subdued so many kingdoms, as we that do succeed 134 or they that shall hereafter possess our throne, shall, I fear me, ne'er attain to that degree of high renown and great authority, amongst which kings is Alexander the Great, chief spectacle of the world's preeminence, the bright 135 shining of whose glorious acts lightens the world with his reflecting beams, as when I hear but motion made of him, it grieves my soul I never saw the man. If, therefore, thou, by cunning of thine art, canst raise this man from hollow vaults below, where lies entombed this famous conqueror, and bring with him his beauteous paramour, both in their right shapes, gesture, and attire they used to wear during their time of life, thou shalt both satisfy my just desire, and give me cause to praise thee whilst I live. Faustus. My gracious Lord, I am ready to accomplish your request, so far forth as by art and power of my spirit I am able to perform. Knight. I faith, that's just nothing at all. Aside. Faustus. But, if it like your grace, it is not in my ability 136 to present before your eyes the true substantial bodies of those two deceased princes, which long since are consumed to dust. Knight. I, Mary, Master Doctor, now there's a sign of grace in you, when you will confess the truth. Aside. Faustus. But such spirits as can lively resemble Alexander and his paramour shall appear before your grace, in that manner that they both 137 lived in their most flourishing estate, which I doubt not shall sufficiently content your imperial majesty. Emperor. Go to, Master Doctor, let me see them presently. Knight. Do you hear, Master Doctor? You bring Alexander and his paramour before the emperor. Faustus. How then, sir? Knight. I faith, that's as true as Diana turned me to a stag. Faustus. No, sir, but, when Actaeon died, he left the horns for you Mephistopheles, begone. Exit Mephistopheles. Knight. Nay, and you go to conjuring, I'll be gone. Exit. Faustus. I'll meet with you anon for interrupting me so. Here they are, my gracious lord. Re-enter Mephistopheles with spirits in the shapes of Alexander and his paramour. Emperor. Master Doctor, I heard this lady, while she lived, had a wart or mole in her neck, how shall I know whether it be so or no? Faustus. Your Highness may boldly go and see. Emperor. Sure, these are no spirits, but the true substantial bodies of those two deceased princes. Exeunt spirits. Faustus. Will't please your Highness now to send for the knight that was so pleasant with me here of late? Emperor. One of you call him forth. Exit attendant. Re-enter the knight with a pair of horns on his head. How now, Sir Knight? Why, I had thought thou hadst been a bachelor, but now I see thou hast a wife, that not only gives thee horns, but makes thee wear them. Feel on thy head. Knight. Thou damned wretch and execrable dog, bred in the concave of some monstrous rock, how darst thou thus abuse a gentleman? Villain, I say, undo what thou hast done. Faustus. Oh, not so fast, sir. There's no haste, but, good, are you remembered how you crossed me in my conference with the emperor? I think I have met with you for it. Emperor. Good Master Doctor, at my entreaty release him, he hath done penance sufficient. Faustus. My gracious lord, not so much for the injury he offered me here in your presence, as to delight you with some mirth, hath Faustus worthily requited this injurious knight, which being all I desire, I am content to release him of his horns and, Sir Knight, hereafter speak well of scholars Mephistopheles, transform him straight. 138 Mephistopheles removes the horns. Now, my good lord, having done my duty, I humbly take my leave. Emperor. Farewell, Master Doctor, yet, ere you go, expect from me a bounteous reward. Exeunt Emperor, Knight, and attendants. Faustus. Now, Mephistopheles 139 The restless course that time doth run with calm and silent foot, shortening my days and thread of vital life, calls for the payment of my latest years, therefore, sweet Mephistopheles, let us make haste to Württemberg. Mephist. What, will you go on horseback or on foot? Faustus. Nay, till I'm past this fair and pleasant green, I'll walk on foot. Enter a horse courser. 140 Horse courser. I have been all this day seeking one Master Fustian, Mass, see where he is, God save you, Master Doctor. Faustus. What, horse courser? You are well met. Horse courser. Do you hear, sir? I have brought you $40 for your horse. Faustus. I cannot sell him so, if thou likest him for 50, take him. Horse courser. Alas, sir, I have no more, I pray you, speak for me. Mephist. I pray you, let him have him, he is an honest fellow, and he has a great charge, neither wife, nor child. Faustus. Well, come, give me your money. Horse courser gives Faustus the money, my boy will deliver him to you. But I must tell you one thing before you have him, ride him not into the water, at any hand. Horse courser. Why, sir, will he not drink of all waters? Faustus. Oh, yes, he will drink of all waters, but ride him not into the water, ride him over hedge or ditch, or where thou wilt, but not into the water. Horse courser. Well, sir, now am I made man forever, I'll not leave my horse for 40:141. If he had but the quality of hating ding, I'd make a brave living on him, he has a buttock as slick as an eel aside. Well, God bwi yeah, sir, your boy will deliver him me, but, hark you, sir, if my horse be sick or ill at ease, if I bring his water to you, you'll tell me what it is. Faustus. Away, you villain. What, dost think I am a horse doctor? Exit horse courser. What art thou, Faustus, but a man condemned to die? Thy fatal time doth draw to final end, despair doth drive distrust into 142. My thoughts, confound these passions with a quiet sleep, tush, Christ did call the thief upon the cross, then rest thee, Faustus, quiet in conceit. Sleeps in his chair. Re-enter horse courser, all wet, crying. Horse courser. Alas, alas. Dr. Fustian, quoth they? Mass, Dr. Lupus 143 was never such a doctor, has given me a purgation, has purged me of $40, I shall never see them more. But yet, like an ass as I was, I would not be ruled by him, for he bade me I should ride him into no water. Now I, thinking my horse had had some rare quality that he would not have had me know of. 144 I, like a Venturous youth, rid him into the deep pond at the town's end. I was no sooner in the middle of the pond, but my horse vanished away, and I sat upon a bottle of hay, never so near drowning in my life. But I'll seek out my doctor, and have my $40 again, or I'll make it the dearest horse. Oh, yonder is his snipper snapper, do you hear? You, hey, pass 145, where's your master? Mephist. Why, sir, what would you? You cannot speak with him. Horse courser. But I will speak with him. Mephist. Why, he's fast asleep, come some other time. Horse courser. I'll speak with him now, or I'll break his glass windows about his ears. Mephist. I tell thee, he has not slept this 8 nights. Horse courser. And he have not slept this 8 weeks, I'll speak with him. Mephist. See, where he is, fast asleep. Horse courser. I, this is he, God save you, Master Doctor, Master Doctor, Master Doctor Fustian. $40, $40 for a bottle of hay. Mephist. Why, thou seest he hears thee not. Horse courser. So ho, ho. So ho, ho. Hollows in his ear. No, will you not wake? I'll make you wake ere I go. Pulls Faustus by the leg, and pulls it away. Alas, I am undone. What shall I do? Faustus. Oh, my leg, help, Mephistopheles. Call the officers, my leg, my leg. Mephist. Come, villain, to the constable. Horse courser. O Lord, sir, let me go, and I'll give you $40 more. Mephist. Where be they? Horse courser. I have none about me, come to my ostry 146 and I'll give them you. Mephist. Be gone quickly. Horse courser runs away. Faustus. What, is he gone? Farewell he. Faustus has his leg again, and the horse courser, I take it, a bottle of hay for his labor. Well, this trick shall cost him $40 more. Enter Wagner. How now, Wagner? What's the news with thee? Wagner. Sir, the Duke of Vanholt doth earnestly entreat your company. Faustus. The Duke of Vanholt. An honorable gentleman, to whom I must be no niggard of my cunning. 147 Come, Mephistopheles, let's away to him. Exeunt. Enter the Duke of Vanholt, the Duchess, and Faustus. 148 Duke. Believe me, Master Doctor, this merriment hath much pleased me. Faustus. My gracious lord, I am glad it contents you so well. But it may be, madam, you take no delight in this. I have heard that great-bellied women do long for some dainties or other. What is it, madam? Tell me, and you shall have it. Duchess. Thanks, good Master Doctor, and, for I see your courteous intent to pleasure me, I will not hide from you the thing my heart desires, and, were it now summer, as it is January and the dead time of the winter, I would desire no better meat than a dish of ripe grapes. Faustus. Alas, madam, that's nothing, Mephistopheles, be gone. Exit Mephistopheles. Were it a greater thing than this, so it would content you, you should have it. Re-enter Mephistopheles with grapes. Here they be, madam, wilt please you taste on them? Duke. Believe me, Master Doctor, this makes me wonder above the rest, that being in the dead time of winter and in the month of January, how you should come by these grapes. Faustus. If it like your grace, the year is divided into 2 circles over the whole world, that, when it is here winter with us, in the contrary circle it is summer with them, as in India, Sabha 149 and farther countries in the east, and by means of a swift spirit that I have, I had them brought hither, as you see. How do you like them, madam? Be they good? Duchess. Believe me, Master Doctor, they be the best grapes that I tasted in my life before. Faustus. I am glad they content you so, madam. Duke. Come, madam, let us in, where you must well reward this learned man for the great kindness he hath shewed to you. Duchess. And so I will, my lord, and, whilst I live, rest beholding 150 for this courtesy. Faustus. I humbly thank your grace. Duke. Come, Master Doctor, follow us, and receive your reward. Exeunt. Enter Wagner. 151 Wagner. I think my master means to die shortly, for he hath given to me all his goods. 152 And yet, methinks, if that death were near, he would not banquet, and carouse, and swill amongst the students, as even now he doth, who are at supper with such belly cheer as Wagner ne'er beheld in all his life. See, where they come. Belike the feast is ended. Exit. Enter Faustus with 2 or 3 scholars, and Mephistophilis. First Scholar. Master Dr. Faustus, since our conference about fair ladies, which was the beautifulest in all the world, we have determined with ourselves that Helen of Greece was the admirablest lady that ever lived. Therefore, Master Doctor, if you will do us that favor, as to let us see that peerless dame of Greece, whom all the world admires for majesty, we should think ourselves much beholding unto you. Faustus. Gentlemen, for that I know your friendship is unfeigned, and Faustus' custom is not to deny the just requests of those that wish him well, you shall behold that peerless dame of Greece, no other ways for pomp and majesty than when Sir Paris crossed the seas with her, and brought the spoils to rich Dardania. Be silent, then, for danger is in words. Music sounds, and Helen passeth over the stage. 153 Second Scholar. Too simple is my wit to tell her praise, whom all the world admires for majesty. Third Scholar. No marvel though the angry Greeks pursued with 10 years' war the rape of such a queen, whose heavenly beauty passeth all compare. First Scholar. Since we have seen the pride of nature's works, and only paragon of excellence, let us depart, and for this glorious deed happy and blessed be Faustus evermore. Faustus. Gentlemen, farewell, the same I wish to you. Exeunt Scholars. Enter an old man. 154 Old Man. Ah, Dr. Faustus, that I might prevail to guide thy steps unto the way of life, by which sweet path thou mayst attain the goal that shall conduct thee to celestial rest. Break heart, drop blood, and mingle it with tears, tears falling from repentant heaviness of thy most vile 155 and loathsome filthiness, the stench whereof corrupts the inward soul with such flagitious crimes of heinous sin 156 as no commiseration may expel, but mercy, Faustus, of thy Saviour sweet, whose blood alone must wash away thy guilt. Faustus. Where art thou, Faustus? Wretch, what hast thou done? Damned art thou, Faustus, damned, despair and die. Hell calls for right, and with a roaring voice says, Faustus, come, thine hour is almost 157 come, and Faustus now 158 will come to do thee right. Mephistophilis gives him a dagger. Old Man. Ah, stay, good Faustus, stay thy desperate steps. I see an angel hovers o'er thy head, and, with a vial full of precious grace, offers to pour the same into thy soul, then call for mercy, and avoid despair. Faustus. Ah, my sweet friend, I feel thy words to comfort my distressed soul. Leave me a while to ponder on my sins. Old Man. I go, sweet Faustus, but with heavy cheer, fearing the ruin of thy hopeless soul. Exit. Faustus. Accursed Faustus, where is mercy now? I do repent, and yet I do despair, hell strives with grace for conquest in my breast, what shall I do to shun the snares of death? Mephist. Thou traitor, Faustus, I arrest thy soul for disobedience to my sovereign lord, revolt, or I'll in piecemeal tear thy flesh. Faustus. Sweet Mephistopheles, entreat thy lord to pardon my unjust presumption, and with my blood again I will confirm my former vow I made to Lucifer. Mephist. Do it, then, quickly 159 with unfeigned heart, lest greater danger do attend thy drift. Faustus. Torment, sweet friend, that base and crooked age, that durst dissuade me from thy Lucifer, with greatest torments that our hell affords. Mephist. His faith is great, I cannot touch his soul, but what I may afflict his body with I will attempt, which is but little worth. Faustus. One thing, Good servant 160 let me crave of thee, to glut the longing of my heart's desire that I might have unto my paramour that heavenly Helen which I saw of late, whose sweet embracings may extinguish clean those 161 thoughts that do dissuade me from my vow, and keep mine oath I made to Lucifer. Mephist. Faustus, this 162 or what else thou shalt desire, shall be performed in twinkling of an eye. Re-enter Helen. Faustus. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships, and burned the topless 163 towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. Kisses her. Her lips suck forth my soul, see, where it flies. Come, Helen, come, give me my soul again. Here will I dwell, for heaven is 164 in these lips, and all is dross that is not Helena. I will be Paris, and for love of thee, instead of Troy, shall Württemberg be sacked, and I will combat with weak Menelaus, and wear thy colours on my plumed crest. Yea, I will wound Achilles in the heel, and then return to Helen for a kiss. Oh, thou art fairer than the evening air, clad in the beauty of 1,000 stars, brighter art thou than flaming Jupiter when he appeared to hapless Semele, more lovely than the monarch of the sky in wanton Arethusa's as at arms, and none but thou shalt 165 be my paramour. Exeunt. Enter the old man. 166 Old man. Accursed Faustus, miserable man, that from thy soul excludest the grace of heaven, and fliest the throne of his tribunal seat. Enter devils. Satan begins to sift me with his pride, as in this furnace God shall try my faith, vile hell, shall triumph over thee. Ambitious fiends, see how the heavens smile at your repulse, and laugh your state to scorn. Hence, hell. For hence I fly unto my God. Exeunt. On one side, devils, on the other, old man. Enter Faustus 167 with scholars. Faustus. Ah, gentlemen. First scholar. What ails Faustus? Faustus. Ah, my sweet chamberfellow, had I lived with thee, then had I lived still. But now I die eternally. Look, comes he not? Comes he not? Second scholar. What means Faustus? Third scholar. Belike he is grown into some sickness by being over solitary. First scholar. If it be so, we'll have physicians to cure him. 'Tis but a surfeit, never fear, man. Faustus. A surfeit of deadly sin, that hath damned both body and soul. Second scholar. Yet, Faustus, look up to heaven, remember God's mercies are infinite. Faustus. But Faustus' offense can ne'er be pardoned, the serpent that tempted Eve may be saved, but not Faustus. Ah, gentlemen, hear me with patience, and tremble not at my speeches. Though my heart pants and quivers to remember that I have been a student here these 30 years, oh, would I had never seen Württemberg, never read book. And what wonders I have done, all Germany can witness, yea, all the world, for which Faustus hath lost both Germany and the world, yea, heaven itself, heaven, the seat of God, the throne of the blessed, the kingdom of joy, and must remain in hell forever, hell, ah, hell, forever. Sweet friends, what shall become of Faustus, being in hell forever? Third scholar. Yet, Faustus, call on God. Faustus. On God, whom Faustus hath abjured. On God, whom Faustus hath blasphemed. Ah, my God, I would weep. But the devil draws in my tears. Gush forth blood, instead of tears. Yea, life and soul. Oh, he stays my tongue. I would lift up my hands, but see, they hold them, all. Who? Faustus. Faustus. Lucifer and Mephistopheles. Ah, gentlemen, I gave them my soul for my cunning, 168 all. God forbid. Faustus. God forbade it, indeed, but Faustus hath done it, for vain pleasure of 24 years hath Faustus lost eternal joy and felicity. I writ them a bill with mine own blood, the date is expired, the time will come, and he will fetch me. First Scholar. Why did not Faustus tell us of this before 169 that divines might have prayed for thee? Faustus. Oft have I thought to have done so, but the devil threatened to tear me in pieces, if I named God, to fetch both body and soul, if I once gave ear to divinity, and now 'tis too late. Gentlemen, away, lest you perish with me. Second Scholar. Oh, what shall we do to save 170 Faustus? Faustus. Talk not of me, but save yourselves, and depart. Third Scholar. God will strengthen me, I will stay with Faustus. First Scholar. Tempt not God, sweet friend, but let us into the next room, and there pray for him. Faustus. I, pray for me, and what noise soever yet hear 171 come not unto me, for nothing can rescue me. Second Scholar. Pray thou, and we will pray that God may have mercy upon thee. Faustus. Gentlemen, farewell, if I live till morning, I'll visit you, if not, Faustus is gone to hell. All. Faustus, farewell. Exeunt Scholars. The clock strikes 11. Faustus. Ah, Faustus, now hast thou but one bare hour to live, and then thou must be damned perpetually. Stand still, you ever-moving spheres of heaven, that time may cease, and midnight never come, fair nature's eye, rise, rise again, and make perpetual day, or let this hour be but a year, a month, a week, a natural day, that Faustus may repent and save his soul. O lente 172 lente carite, noctis equi. The stars move still, time runs, the clock will strike, the devil will come, and Faustus must be damned. Oh, I'll leap up to my God, who pulls me down, see, where Christ's blood streams in the firmament. One drop would save my soul, half a drop, ah, my Christ, ah, rend not my heart for naming of my Christ. Yet will I call on him, oh, spare me, Lucifer, where is it now? 'Tis gone, and see, where God stretcheth out his arm, and bends his ireful brows. Mountains and hills, come, and fall on me, and hide me from the heavy wrath of God. No, no. Then will I headlong run into the earth, gape. Oh, no, it will not harbor me. You stars that reigned at my nativity, whose influence hath allotted death and hell, now draw up Faustus, like a foggy mist, into the entrails of yon labouring cloud that, when you 173 vomit forth into the air, my limbs may issue from your smoky mouths, so that my soul may but ascend to heaven. The clock strikes the half hour. Ah, half the hour is past. 'Twill all be past anon, O God, if thou wilt not have mercy on my soul, yet for Christ's sake, whose blood hath ransomed me, impose some end to my incessant pain, let Faustus live in hell 1,000 years, 100,000, and at last be saved. Oh, no end is limited to damned souls. Why wert thou not a creature wanting soul? Or why is this immortal that thou hast? Ah, Pythagoras' metempsychosis, were that true, this soul should fly from me, and I be changed unto some brutish beast. 174 All beasts are happy, for, when they die, their souls are soon dissolved in elements, but mine must live still to be plagued in hell. Cursed be the parents that engendered me. No, Faustus, curse thyself, curse Lucifer that hath deprived thee of the joys of heaven. The clock strikes 12. Oh, it strikes, it strikes. Now, body, turn to air, or Lucifer will bear thee quick to hell. Thunder and lightning. O soul, be changed into little water drops, and fall into the ocean, ne'er be found. Enter devils. My God, look not so fierce on me. Adders and serpents, let me breathe a while. Ugly hell, gape not. Come not, Lucifer. I'll burn my books, ah, Mephistopheles. Exeunt devils with Faustus. 175 Enter Chorus. Chorus. Cut is the branch that might have grown full straight, and burned is Apollo's laurel bough, that sometime grew within this learned man. Faustus is gone, regard his hellish fall, whose fiendful fortune may exhort the wise, only to wonder at unlawful things, whose deepness doth entice such forward wits to practice more than heavenly power permits. Exit. Termin ad ora diem, termin ad auctor opus. Footnotes: 1. Return, made i.e. confound, defeat. 2. Return, von so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 daunt. 3. Return, her all the 4 tos his. 4. Return, whereas i.e. where. 5. Return, cunning i.e. knowledge. 6. Return, so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 more. 7. Return, Faustus discovered in his study most probably, the chorus, before going out, drew a curtain, and discovered Faustus sitting. In B. Barnes's Devil's Charter, 1607, we find, scen. V. L. Tima. Alexander Veen braced betwixt two cardinals in his study looking vpon book, whilst a groom draweth the curtain. Sigl 3. 8. Return, Analytics, 'tis thou, and CQY. Analytic. But such phraseology was not uncommon. 9. Return, so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 the printer having mistaken yt for ye. 10. Return, so the later 4 tos, with various spelling, 2 to 1604 on Camion. 11. Return, and so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 12. Return, couds so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 woodst. 13. Return, men so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 man. 14. Return, legator all the 4 tos legatus. 15. Return, and see so 2 of the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 16. Return, law so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 church. 17. Return, this so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 his. 18. Return, 2 serval so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 the dual. 19. Return, che Ciro lest it should be thought that I am wrong in not altering the old spelling here, I may quote from Panizzi's very critical edition of the Orlando Furioso, La Satisfazione ci Cira Pronta. C18. St 67. 20. Return, scenes and sooner may a gulling weather spy by drawing forth heaven scenes tell certainly, and see Dunn's first satire p. 327, ed. 1633-21, return, tire so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 tree. 22, return, enter Wagner, and C. Perhaps the proper arrangement is Wagner. Enter Wagner. Commend me to my dearest friends, and C. 23, return, treasure so the later 4 TOS 2 to 1604 treasury. 24, return, Jove so again, P84, first Colonel C. Note 59, seeing Faustus hath incurred eternal death by desperate thoughts against Jove's deity, and C. And I may notice that Marlowe is not singular in applying the name Jove to the God of Christians beneath our standard of Jah's powerful Son i.e. Christ. Mere. For Magistrates, p. 642, ed. 1610 but see the judgment of Almighty Joue, and CID p. 696. O Samo Jove per noi crucifisso, and C. Pulsi Morgant Mag C2. St1. 25, return, these elements so again, within the bowels of these elements, and C. P87, first COLC note 90 these being equivalent to the. Not unfrequently in our old writers these is little more than redundant. 26, return, resolve i.e. satisfy, inform. 27, return, silk all the 4 TOS skill, and so the modern editors, dot. 28, return, the so the later 4 TOS 2 to 1604 hour. 29, return, the fiery keel at Antwerp's bridge during the blockade of Antwerp by the Prince of Parma in 1585, they of Antwerp knowing that the bridge and the staccatos were finished, made a great ship, to be a means to break all this worka of the Prince of Parma's. This great ship was made of masons' worka within, in the manner of a vaulted ca, vpon the hatches there were laid myll stones, graustones, and others of great weight, and within the vault were many barrels of powder. Our the which there were holes, and in them they had put matches, hanging at a thread, the which burning veen till they came veen to the thread, would fall into the powder, and so blow vp all. And for that they could not how any one in this ship to conduct it, Lankhuyer, a sea captain of the Hollanders, being then in Antwerp, gaw them counsel to tie a great beam at the end of it, to make it to keep a straight course in the midst of the stream. In this sort floated this ship the 4th of April, veen till that it came veen to the bridge, where, within a while after, the powder wrought his effect, with such violence, as the vessel, and all that was within it, and vpon it, flew in pieces, carrying away a part of the staccato and of the bridge. The Marquis of Roubaix Viscount of Gant, Gaspar of Robles Lord of Billy, and the Seigneur of Torchis, brother veen to the Seigneur of Bours, with many others, were presently slain, which were torn in pieces, and dispersed abroad, both vpon the land and vpon the water. Grimston's General History of the Netherlands, p. 875, ed. 1609-30, return, only qy. Alone? This line is not in the later 4 TOS. 31, return, vile old ed. Vilt, but see note, p. 68, this line is not in the later 4 TOS. Note from page 68, the second part of Tamburlaine the Great vile the 8 vo vilt, the 4 to wild, both eds a little before, have vile monster, born of some infernal hag, and, a few lines after, to vile and ignominious servitude. The fact is, our early writers, or rather transcribers, with their usual inconsistency of spelling, give now the one form, and now the other. Compare the Folio Shakespeare, 1623, where we sometimes find vilt and sometimes vile. 32, return, concise syllogisms old ed. Concise syllogisms. 33, return, cunning i.e. knowing, skillful. 34, return, Agrippa i.e. Cornelius Agrippa. 35, return, shadow so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 shadows. 36, return, spirits so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 subicts. 37, return, Alman Rutter see note, p43. Note from p43. The second part of Tamburlaine the Great Almans, Rutters are properly German troopers, Reiter, Reuter. In the third speech after the present one this line is repeated verbatim, but in the first scene of our author's Faustus we have, like Alman Rutters with their horsemen's staves. 38, return, have the so 2 of the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 in there. 39, return, from so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 4. 40, return, in so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 41, return, renowned see note, p11. Note from p11. The first part of Tamburlaine the Great renowned i.e. renowned so the 8 vo the 4 to renowned the form renowned, father renom, occurs repeatedly afterwards in this play, according to the 8 vo. It is occasionally found in writers posterior to Marlowe's time. E.g. of Constantine's great town renowned in vain. Verses to King James, prefixed to Lord Stirling's Monarchic Tragedies, ed. 1607-42, return, Albertus i.e. Albertus Magnus the correction of I am in Gent. Mag for January 1841 all the 4 tos Albinus. 43, return, cunning i.e. skill. 44, return, enter 2 scholars scene, perhaps, supposed to be before Faustus's house, as Wagner presently says, my master is within at dinner. 45, return, upon so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 v Ponti. 46, return, speak, would so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 speak, it would. 47, return, my dear brethren this repetition, not found in the later 4 tos, is perhaps an error of the original compositor. 48, return, enter Faustus to conjure the scene is supposed to be a grove, cp 81, last line of section kernel page 81, second column, last line, Valdez. Then haste thee to some solitary grove, 49, return, anagrammatized so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 an agrammatist. 50, return, th abbreviated so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 the abbreviated. 51, return, erring i.e. wandering. 52, return, Sergat Mephistopheles, quod tumeraris the later 4 tos have Sergat Mephistopheles dragon, quad tumeraris. There is a corruption here, which seems to defy emendation. For quad tumeraries, Mr. J. Crossley, of Manchester, would read, rejecting the word dragon, quad tu mandares, the construction being quad tu mundares ut Mephistopheles aperiat et Sergat but the two does not agree with the preceding vos. The Rev. J. Mitford proposes Sergat Mephistopheles, per dragon, or dagon, quad numen est eris. 53, return, Decada so 2 of the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 Decadus. 54, return, re-enter Mephistopheles, and see according to the history of Dr. Faustus, on which this play is founded, Faustus raises Mephistopheles in a thick wood near to Wittenberg, called in the German tongue Spisserwald. Presently, not 3 fathom above his head, fell a flame in manner of a lightning, and changed itself into a globe. Suddenly the globe opened, and sprung up in the height of a man, so burning a time, in the end it converted to the shape of a fiery man. This pleasant beast ran about the circle a great while, and, lastly, appeared in the manner of a grey friar, asking Faustus what was his request. Sigs. A2, A3, ed. 1648 again, after Dr. Faustus had made his promise to the devil, in the morning betimes he called the spirit before him, and commanded him that he should always come to him like a friar after the order of Saint Francis, with a bell in his hand like Saint Anthony, and to ring it once or twice before he appeared, that he might know of his certain coming. Id. Sig. A4. 55, return, came hither. So two of the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 came now hither. 56, return, accident. So two of the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 accident. 57, return, why, this is hell, nor am I out of it. Compare Milton, Par. Lost, 4. 75, which way I fly is hell, myself am hell. 58, return, these. So the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 those. 59, return, Jove. See note, p80. I.e. note 24, 60, return, 4 and 20. So the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 24. 61, return, resolve, i.e. satisfy, inform. 62, return, thorough. So one of the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 through. 63, return, country. So the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 land. 64, return, desert. So the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 desire. 65, return, enter Wagner, and see scene, a street most probably. 66, return, Piccadilly Vance, i.e. beards cut to a point. 67, return, by Our Lady, i.e. by Our Lady. 68, return, Qui mihi discipulus. The first words of W. Lilly's ad discipulos Carmen de Moribus, Qui mihi discipulus, pure, es, cupis et desiri, hucades, and c. 69, return, Staves acre, a species of larkspur. 70, return, vermin which the seeds of Staves acre were used to destroy. 71, return, familiars, i.e. attendant demons. 72, return, there. So the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 my. 73, return, slop, i.e. wide breeches. 74, return, vile old ed. Wilt. See note p68. Note from page 68, the second part of Tamburlaine the Great vile, the 8 vo wilt, the 4 to wild, both eds a little before, have vile monster, born of some infernal hag, and, a few lines after, to vile and ignominious servitude. The fact is, our early writers, or rather transcribers, with their usual inconsistency of spelling, give now the one form, and now the other. Compare the Folio Shakespeare, 1623, where we sometimes find vilt and sometimes vile. 75, return, vestigias nostris. All the 4 tos vestigias nostras. 76, return, of. So the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 77, return, me. So the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 78, return, he lives. So the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 I lie yo. 79, return, why. So the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 80, return, Soleman Miseres, and see an often cited line of modern Latin poetry, by whom it was written I know not. 81, return, why so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 82, return, torture so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 tortures. 83, return, Faustus so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 84, return, Bill I.e. writing, deed. 85, return, here's fire, come, Faustus, set it on. This would not be intelligible without the assistance of the history of Dr. Faustus, the 6th chapter of which is headed How Dr. Faustus set his blood in a saucer on warm ashes, and writ as followeth. Sigb, ed. 1648-86, return, but what is this inscription? And see he Faustus took a small penknife and pricked a vein in his left hand, and for certainty thereupon were seen on his hand these words written, as if they had been written with blood, O homo, fuge. The History of Dr. Faustus, Sigb, ed. 1648-87, return, me so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 the. 88, return, he desires not in any of the 4 tos. In the tract just cited, the 3d article stands thus that Mephistophiles should bring him anything, and do for him whatsoever. Sig. A 4, ed. 1648 a later ed. Adds he desired. Marlowe, no doubt, followed some edition of the history in which these words, or something equivalent to them, had been omitted by mistake. 2 to 1661, which I consider as of no authority, has he requireth. 89, return, that, and see so all the 4 tos, ungrammatically. 90, return, these see note, PADIE note 25, 91, return, there so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 92, return, are so 2 of the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 is. 93, return, fond i.e. foolish. 94, return, what, walking, disputing, and see the later 4 tos have what, sleeping, eating, walking, and disputing. But it is evident that this speech is not given correctly in any of the old eds. 95, return, let me have a wife, and see the 9th chapter of the history of Dr. Faustus narrates how Dr. Faustus would have married, and how the devil had almost killed him for it, and concludes as follows. It is no jesting, said Mephistopheles with us, hold thou that which thou hast vowed, and we will perform as we have promised, and more shall that, thou shalt have thy heart's desire of what woman soever thou wilt, be she alive or dead, and so long as thou wilt thou shalt keep her by thee. These words pleased Faustus wonderful well, and repented himself that he was so foolish to wish himself married, that might have any woman in the whole city brought him at his command, the which he practiced and persevered in a long time. Sigb 3, ed. 1648-96, return, me not in 4 to 1604. This line is wanting in the later 4 tos. 97, return, no so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 98, return, Saba i.e. Sabia the Queen of Sheba. 99, return, iterating i.e. reciting, repeating. 100, return, and argue of divine astrology, and see in the history of Dr. Faustus, there are several tedious pages on the subject, but our dramatist, in the dialogue which follows, has no particular obligations to them. 101, return, erring i.e. wandering. 102, return, freshmans of freshmen, tyro, novitius. Coles's Dict. Properly, a student during his first term at the university. 103, return, resolve i.e. satisfy, inform. 104, return, seek to save qy. Seek thou to save? But see note, p18. Note, from page 18, the first part of Tamburlaine the Great Barbarous qy. O barbarous? In the next line but one, O treacherous? And in the last line of the speech, O bloody? But we occasionally find in our early dramatists lines which are defective in the first syllable, and in some of these instances at least it would almost seem that nothing has been omitted by the transcriber or printer. 105, return, enter the 7 deadly sins in the history of Dr. Faustus. Lucifer amuses Faustus, not by calling up the 7 deadly sins, but by making various devils appear before him, one after another, infirmi as they were in hell. First entered Belial, infirmi of a bear, and see after him came Beelzebub, in curled hair of a horse flesh color, and see then came Astaroth, in the firmi of a worm, and see. During this exhibition, Lucifer himself sate in manner of a man all hairy, but of brown color, like a squirrel, curled, and his tail turning upward on his back as the squirrel's use. I think he could crack nuts too like a squirrel. Sigd, ed. 1648 106, return, case i.e. couple. 107, return, beavers i.e. refreshments between meals. 108, return, all the 4 tos lechery. Here I have made the alteration recommended by Mr. Collier in his preface to Coleridge's 7 lectures on Shakespeare and Milton, pkin. 109, return, away, to hell in 4 to 1604, these words stand on a line by themselves, without a prefix. In the later 4 tos, the corresponding passage is as follows, begins with lechery. Lucifer. Away to hell, away. On, Piper. Exeunt the sins. Faustus. Oh, how this sight doth delight my soul. N.C. 110, return, I will send for thee at midnight. In the history of Dr. Faustus, we have a particular account of Faustus's visit to the infernal regions, Sigd 2, ed. 1648 111, return, enter chorus old ed. Enter Wagner solus. That these lines belong to the chorus would be evident enough, even if we had no assistance here from the later 4 tos. The parts of Wagner and of the chorus were most probably played by the same actor, and hence the error. 112, return, learned Faustus, to know the secrets of astronomy, and see the 21st chapter of the history of Dr. Faustus, how Dr. Faustus was carried through the air up to the heavens, to see the whole world, and how the sky and planets ruled, and see. 113, return, enter Faustus and Mephistopheles scene, the Pope's privy chamber. 114, return, trier i.e. Treves or triers. 115, return, from Paris next, and see this description is from the history of Dr. Faustus. He came from Paris to Mentz, where the river of Maine falls into the Rhine, notwithstanding he tarried not long there, but went into Campania, in the kingdom of Neapole, in which he saw an innumerable sort of cloisters, nunneries, and churches, and great houses of stone, the streets fair and large, and straight forth from one end of the town to the other as a line, and all the pavement of the city was of brick, and the more it rained into the town, the fairer the streets were. There saw he the tomb of Virgil, and the highway that he cut through the mighty hill of stone in one night, the whole length of an English mile, and Sige 2, ed. 1648 116, return, the way he cut, and see during the Middle Ages Virgil was regarded as a great magician, and much was written concerning his exploits in that capacity. The life of Virgilius, however, see Thoms's early prose romances, volume 2, makes no mention of the feat in question. But Petrarch speaks of it as follows. Non lungiput olus falernus collis attolator, famoso pomite nobilis. Inter falernum et mare mons est sacos, hominum manibus confasus, quod vulgus insulsum a Virgilio magicis cantaminibus factum putant, ita clarorum fama hominum, non veris contenta laudibus, sapientium fabulis viam facit. De quo cum me olim Robertus Regno clarus, sed preclarus ingenio ac literis, quid sentiram, multi sustantibus, percunctatus esset, humanitate fridus regia, qua non regis modo sed homines visit, jocans nusquam me legis magicarium fuis Virgilium respondi, quod il severissimi nutu frontis approbans, non illic magici sed feri vestigia confisus est sunt autem fosses excavati montes angusti sed longissimi et cateri, tenebrosa inter horrifica semper nox, publicum idhere in medio, mirum et religionae proximum, belli quoque immolatum temporibus, sic vero populi vox est, et nullis unquam latrocinius attentatum, patet, cryptum Neapolitanum decunt, cujus et in epistolis ad Lucilium Seneca mentionum facit. Sub finem fussi tramitis, ubi primo videri caelum incipit, in agere edito, ipsius Virgilii busta vicentur, pervetisti operis, unde hec forsan ab illo perforati montes fluxit opinio. Itinerarium Syriacum op. P 560, ed. Bess. 117, return, from thence to Venice, Padua, and the rest, in one of which a sumptuous temple stands, and see so the later 4tos 2 to 1604 in midst of which, and see the history of Dr. Faustus shews what sumptuous temple is meant. From thence he came to Venice, he wondered not a little at the fairness of S. Mark's place, and the sumptuous church standing thereon, called S. Mark, how all the pavement was set with colored stones, and all the rood or loft of the church double gilded over. Sige 2, ed. 1648 118, return, just through the midst, and see this and the next line are not in 4 to 1604. I have inserted them from the later 4tos, as being absolutely necessary for the sense. 119, return, ponte all the 4tos ponto. 120, return, of so the later 4tos not in 4 to 1604. 121, return, then charm me, that I, and see a corrupted passage compare the history of Dr. Faustus, Sige 3, ed. 1648, where, however, the cardinal, whom the Pope entertains, is called the Cardinal of Pavia. 122, return, sonnet variously written, senet, signet, signate, and see a particular set of notes on the trumpet, or cornet, different from a flourish. See Nares's gloss. In V. Senet. 123, return, enter Robin, and see scene, near an inn. 124, return, Hippocras or Hippocras, a medicated drink composed of wine, usually red, with spices and sugar. It is generally supposed to have been so called from Hippocrates, contracted by our earliest writers to Hippocras, perhaps because it was strained the woolen bag used by apothecaries to strain syrups and decoctions for clarification being termed Hippocrates' sleeve. 125, return, tavern i.e. tavern. 126, return, exeunt. Enter Robin and Ralph, and see a scene is evidently wanting after the exeunt of Robin and Ralph. 127, return, purchase i.e. booty gain, acquisition. 128, return, drawer. There is an inconsistency here, the vintner cannot properly be addressed as drawer. The later 4 tos are also inconsistent in the corresponding passage. Dick says, the vintner's boy follows us at the hard heels, and immediately the vintner enters. 129, return, tone i.e. the one. 130, return, Mephist monarch of hell, and see old Ed thus Mephist. Vanish villains, one like an ape, and other like a bear, the thirdiness, for doing this enterprise. Monarch of hell, Vinder whose black is surui, and see. What follows, shews that the words which I have omitted ought to have no place in the text, nor is there anything equivalent to them in the corresponding passage of the play as given in the later 4 tos. 131, return, enter emperor, and see scene an apartment in the emperor's palace. According to the history of Dr. Faustus, the emperor was personally, with the rest of the nobles and gentlemen, at the town of Innsbruck, where he kept his court. Sigg, ed. 1648 132, return, Master Dr. Faustus, and see the greater part of the scene is closely borrowed from the history just cited, e.g. Faustus, I have heard much of thee, that thou art excellent in the black art, and none like thee in mine empire, for men say that thou hast a familiar spirit with thee, and that thou canst do what thou list. It is therefore, said the emperor, my request of thee, that thou let me see a proof of thy experience, and I vow unto thee, by the honor of my imperial crown, none evil shall happen unto thee for so doing, and see Ibid. 133, return, one may be right, but qy done. 134, return, as we that do succeed, and see a corrupted passage, not found in the later 4 tos. 135, return, the bright, and see note, p18. Note, from page 18, the first part of Tamburlaine the Great Barbarous qy. O barbarous! In the next line but one, O treacherous! And in the last line of the speech, O bloody! But we occasionally find in our early dramatists lines which are defective in the first syllable, and in some of these instances at least it would almost seem that nothing has been omitted by the transcriber or printer. 136, return, but, if it like your grace, it is not in my ability, and c. D. Faustus answered, my most excellent lord, I am ready to accomplish your request in all things, so forth as I and my spirit are able to perform, yet your majesty shall know that their dead bodies are not able substantially to be brought before you, but such spirits as have seen Alexander and his paramour alive shall appear unto you, in manner and form as they both lived in their most flourishing time, and herewith I hope to please your imperial majesty. Then Faustus went a little aside to speak to his spirit, but he returned again presently, saying, now, if it please your majesty, you shall see them, yet, upon this condition, that you demand no question of them, nor speak unto them, which the emperor agreed unto. Wherewith Dr. Faustus opened the privy chamber door, where presently entered the great and mighty Emperor Alexander Magnus, in all things to look upon as if he had been alive, in proportion, a strong set thick man, of a middle stature, black a hair, and that both thick and curled, head and beard, red cheeks, and a broad face, with eyes like a basilisk. He had a complete harnessy, i.e. suit of armor, burnished and graven, exceeding rich to look upon, and so, passing towards the Emperor Carolus, he made low and reverent courtesy, whereat the Emperor Carolus would have stood up to receive and greet him with the like reverence, but Faustus took hold on him, and would not permit him to do it. Shortly after, Alexander made humble reverence, and went out again, and coming to the door, his paramour met him. She coming in made the Emperor likewise reverence. She was clothed in blue velvet, wrought and embroidered with pearls and gold. She was also excellent fair, like milk and blood mixed, tall and slender, with a face round as an apple. And thus passed she certain times up and down the house, which the Emperor marking, said to himself, Now have I seen two persons which my heart hath long wished to behold, and sure it cannot otherwise be, said he to himself, but that the spirits have changed themselves into these forms, and have but deceived me, calling to mind the woman that raised the prophet Samuel, and for that the Emperor would be the more satisfied in the matter, he said, I have often heard that behind, in her neck, she had a great wart or wen, wherefore he took Faustus by the hand without any words, and went to see if it were also to be seen on her or not, but she, perceiving that he came to her, bowed down her neck, when he saw a great wart, and hereupon she vanished, leaving the Emperor and the rest well contented. The History of Dr. Faustus, Sigg, ed. 1648 137, return, both old ed. Best. 138, return, Mephistopheles, transform him straight according to the history of Dr. Faustus. The knight was not present during Faustus's conference with the Emperor, nor did he offer the doctor any insult by doubting his skill in magic. We are there told that Faustus happening to see the knight asleep, leaning out of a window of the great hall, fixed a huge pair of hart's horns on his head, and, as the knight awaked, thinking to pull in his head, he hit his horns against the glass, that the pains thereof flew about his ears. Think ye here how this good gentleman was vexed, for he could neither get backward nor forward. After the Emperor and the courtiers, to their great amusement, had beheld the poor knight in this condition, Faustus removed the horns. When Faustus, having taken leave of the Emperor, was a league and a half from the city, he was attacked in a wood by the knight and some of his companions. They were in armor, and mounted on fair palfreys, but the doctor quickly overcame them by turning all the bushes into horsemen, and so charmed them, that every one, knight and other, for the space of a whole moneth, did wear a pair of goat's horns on their brows, and every palfrey a pair of ox horns on his head, and this was their penance appointed by Faustus. A second attempt of the knight to revenge himself on Faustus proved equally unsuccessful. Sigs. G2, I3, ed. 1648 139, return, Faustus. Now Mephistopheles, and see here the scene is supposed to be changed to the fair and pleasant green which Faustus presently mentions. 140, return, horse courser i.e. horse dealer. We are now to suppose the scene to be near the home of Faustus, and presently that it is the interior of his house, for he falls asleep in his chair. How Dr. Faustus deceived a horse courser is related in a short chapter, the 34th, of the history of Dr. Faustus. After this manner he served a horse courser at a fair called Feafering, and c. 141, return, 440 qy. 4 twice $40. 142, return, into so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 veen 143, return, Dr. Lopez i.e. Dr. Lopez, domestic physician to Queen Elizabeth, who was put to death for having received a bribe from the court of Spain to destroy her. He is frequently mentioned in our early dramas. See my note on Middleton's works, 4. 384 144, return, no of the old ed has known of, which perhaps is right, meaning acquainted with. 145, return, hay pass equivalent to juggler. 146, return, ostry i.e. in lodging. 147, return, cunning i.e. skill. 148, return, exeunt. Enter the Duke of Vanholt, the Duchess, and Faustus Old Ed, exeunt. Enter to them the Duke, the Duchess, the Duke speaks. In the later 4tos a scene intervenes between the exeunt of Faustus, Mephistopheles, and Wagner, and the entrance of the Duke of Vanholt, and see we are to suppose that Faustus is now at the court of the Duke of Vanholt. This is plain, not only from the later 4tos, in which Wagner tells Faustus that the Duke hath sent some of his men to attend him, with provision fit for his journey, but from the history of Dr. Faustus, the subjoined portion of which is closely followed in the present scene. Chapter 6. How Dr. Faustus played a merry jest with the Duke of Anholt in his court. Dr. Faustus on a time went to the Duke of Anholt, who welcomed him very courteously. This was the moneth of January, where sitting at the table, he perceived the Duchess to be with child, and forbearing himself until the meat was taken from the table, and that they brought in the banqueting dishes i.e. the dessert, Dr. Faustus said to the Duchesse, "Gratious lady, I have always heard that great-bellied women do always long for some dainties. I beseech therefore your grace, hide not your minda from me, but tell me what you desire to eat." She answered him, "Dr. Faustus, now truly I will not hide from you what my heart doth most desire, namely, that, if it were now harvest, I would eat my bellyful of grapes and other dainty fruit." Dr. Faustus answered hereupon, "Gracious lady, this is a small thing for me to do, for I can do more than this." Wherefore he took a plate, and set open one of the casements of the window, holding it forth, where incontinent he had his dish full of all manner of fruit, as red and white grapes, pears, and apples, the which came from out of strange countries. All these he presented the Duchesse, saying, "Madam, I pray you vouchsafe to taste of this dainty fruit, the which came from a far country, for there the summer is not yet ended." The Duchesse thanked Faustus highly, and she fell to her fruit with full appetite. The Duke of Anholt notwithstanding could not withhold to ask Faustus with what reason there were such young fruit to be had at that time of the year. Dr. Faustus told him, "May it please your grace to understand that the year is divided into two circles of the whole world, that when with us it is winter, in the contrary circle it is notwithstanding summer, for in India and Saba there falleth or setteth the sun, so that it is so warm that they have twice a year fruit, and, gracious Lord, I have a swift spirit, the which can in the twinkling of an eye fulfill my desire in any thing, wherefore I sent him into those countries, who hath brought this fruit as you see," whereat the Duke was in great admiration. 149, return, Saba i.e. Sabia. 150, return, beholding i.e. beholden. 151, return, enter Wagner's scene, a room in the house of Faustus. 152, return, he hath given to me all his goods. Compare chapter LVI of the history of Dr. Faustus. How Dr. Faustus made his will, in which he named his servant Wagner to be his heir. 153, return, Helen passeth over the stage. In the history of Dr. Faustus we have the following description of Helen. This lady appeared before them in a most rich gown of purple velvet, costly embroidered, her hair hanged down loose, as fair as the beaten gold, and of such length that it reached down to her hams, having most amorous coal black eyes, a sweet and pleasant round face, with lips as red as a cherry, her cheeks of a rose color, her mouth small, her neck white like a swan, tall and slender of personage. In summa, there was no imperfect place in her. She looked round about with a rolling hawk's eye, a smiling and wanton countenance, which near hand inflamed the hearts of all the students, but that they persuaded themselves she was a spirit, which made them lightly pass away such fancies. Sigh 4, ed. 1648 154, return, enter an old man. See chapter 8 of the history of Dr. Faustus, how an old man, the neighbor of Faustus, sought to persuade him to amend his evil life and to fall into repentance, according to which history, the old man's exhortation is delivered at his own house, whither he had invited Faustus to supper. 155, return, Wilt old ed. Wilt see note, p. 68. Note from page 68, the second part of Tamburlaine the Great Vile, the 8 vo Wilt, the 4 to Wild, both eds a little before, have vile monster, born of some infernal hag, and, a few lines after, to vile and ignominious servitude. The fact is, our early writers, or rather transcribers, with their usual inconsistency of spelling, give now the one form, and now the other. Compare the Folio Shakespeare, 1623, where we sometimes find Wilt and sometimes vile. 156, return, Sin old ed. Sins, this is not in the later 4 tos. 157, return, almost so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 158, return, now so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 159, return, Mephist. Do it, then, quickly, and see after this speech, most probably, there ought to be a stage direction. Faustus stabs his arm, and writes on a paper with his blood. Compare the history of Dr. Faustus, chapter 6, how Dr. Faustus wrote the second time with his own blood, and gave it to the devil. 160, return, one thing, good servant, and see to the end that this miserable Faustus might fill the lust of his flesh and live in all manner of voluptuous pleasure. It came in his mind, after he had slept his first sleep, and in the 23 year past of his time, that he had a great desire to lie with fair Helena of Greece, especially her whom he had seen and shewed unto the students at Wittenberg, wherefore he called unto his spirit Mephistophiles, commanding him to bring to him the fair Helena. Which he also did. Whereupon he fell in love with her, and made her his common concubine and bedfellow, for she was so beautiful and delightful a piece, that he could not be 1 hour from her. If he should therefore have suffered death, she had so stolen away his heart, and, to his seeming, in time she was with child, whom Faustus named Justus Faustus. The child told Dr. Faustus many things which were done in foreign countries, but in the end, when Faustus lost his life, the mother and the child vanished away both together. The history of Dr. Faustus, Sig. I4, ed. 1648 161, return, though so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 these. 162, return, Faustus, this qy. This, Faustus. 163, return, topless, i.e. not exceeded in height by any. 164, return, is so the later 4 tos 2 to 1604 b. 165, return, shalt so all the 4 tos, and so I believe Marlowe wrote, though the grammar requires shall. 166, return, enter the old man's scene, a room in the old man's house. In the history of Dr. Faustus, the old man makes himself very merry with the attempts of the evil powers to hurt him. About 2 days after that he had exhorted Faustus, as the poor man lay in his bed, suddenly there was a mighty rumbling in the chamber, the which he was never wont to hear, and he heard as it had been the groaning of a sow, which lasted long, whereupon the good old man began to jest and mock, and said, "Oh, what a barbarian cry is this! O fair bird, what foul music is this? Fair angel, that could not tarry 2 days in his place, beginnest thou now to run into a poor man's house, where thou hast no power, and wert not able to keep thy own 2 days?" With these and such like words the spirit departed, and C. Sig. I 2, ed. 1648 167, return, enter Faustus, and see scene, a room in the house of Faustus. 168, return, cunning i.e. knowledge, skill. 169, return, why did not Faustus tell us of this before, and see wherefore one of them said unto him, "Ah, friend Faustus, what have you done to conceal this matter so long from us? We would, by the help of good divines and the grace of God, have brought you out of this net, and have torn you out of the bondage and shens of Satan, whereas now we fear it is too late, to the utter ruin both of your body and soul." Dr. Faustus answered, "I durst never do it, although I often minded to settle my life myself, to godly people to desire counsel and help, and once mine old neighbor counselled me that I should follow his learning and leave all my conjurations, yet, when I was minded to amend and to follow that good man's counsel, then came the devil and would have had me away, as this night he is like to do, and said, so soon as I turned again to God, he would dispatch me altogether." The History of Dr. Faustus, Sigk 3, ed. 1648 170, return, save so the later 4 tos not in 4 to 1604. 171, return, and what noise soever yet hear, and see lastly, to knit up my troubled oration, this is my friendly request, that you would go to rest, and let nothing trouble you. Also, if you chance hear any noise or rumbling about the house, be not therewith afraid, for there shall no evil happen unto you, and see the History of Dr. Faustus, Ubi Supra. 172, return, Olente, and see at si, quem mals, cephalum complexa tenors, clamars, lente currite, noctis equi. Ovid amor. I 13. 39 173, return, that, when you, and see so all the old eds, and it is certain that awkward changes of person are sometimes found in passages of our early poets, but qy, that, when they vomit forth into the air, my limbs may issue from their smoky mouths, and see. 174, return, and I be changed unto some brutish beast now, thou Faustus, damned wretch, how happy wert thou, if, as an unreasonable beast, thou mightest die without a soul, so shouldst thou not feel any more doubts, and see the History of Dr. Faustus, Sigk ed. 1648 175, return, exeunt devils with Faustus. In the History of Dr. Faustus, his miserable and lamentable end is described as follows: it took place, we are informed, at the village called Rimlich, half a mile from Wittenberg. The students and the other that were there, when they had prayed for him, they wept, and so went forth, but Faustus tarried in the hall, and when the gentlemen were laid in bed, none of them could sleep, for that they ended to hear if they might be privy of his end. It happened that between 12 and 1 o'clock at midnight, there blew a mighty storm of wind against the house, as though it would have blown the foundation thereof out of his place. Hereupon the students began to fear and go out of their beds, comforting one another, but they would not stir out of the chamber, and the host of the house ran out of doors, thinking the house would fall. The students lay near unto the hall wherein Dr. Faustus lay, and they heard a mighty noise and hissing, as if the hall had been full of snakes and adders. With that, the hall door flew open, wherein Dr. Faustus was, that he began to cry for help, saying, Murther, murther. But it came forth with half a voice, hollowly. Shortly after, they heard him no more. But when it was day, the students, that had taken no rest that night, arose and went into the hall, in the which they left Dr. Faustus, where notwithstanding they found not Faustus, but all the hall lay sprinkled with blood, his brains cleaving to the wall, for the devil had beaten him from one wall against another. In one corner lay his eyes, in another his teeth, a pitiful and fearful sight to behold. Then began the students to wail and weep for him, and sought for his body in many places. Lastly, they came into the yard, where they found his body lying on the horse dung, most monstrously torn and fearful to behold, for his head and all his joints were dashed in pieces. The forenamed students and masters that were at his death, have obtained so much, that they buried him in the village where he was so grievously tormented. After the which they returned to Wittenberg, and coming into the house of Faustus, they found the servant of Faustus very sad, unto whom they opened all the matter, who took it exceeding heavily. There found they also this history of Dr. Faustus noted and of him written, as is before declared, all save only his end, the which was after by the students thereto annexed. Further, what his servant had noted thereof, was made in another book. And you have heard that he held by him in his life the spirit of fair Helena, the which had by him one son, the which he named Justus Faustus. Even the same day of his death they vanished away, both mother and son. The house before was so dark that scarce any body could abide therein. The same night Dr. Faustus appeared unto his servant lively, and shewed unto him many secret things, the which he had done and hidden in his lifetime. Likewise there were certain which saw Dr. Faustus look out of the window by night, as they passed by the house. Sigk 3, ed. 1648. Original comments on the preparation of the e-text, square brackets, the square brackets, i.e. are copied from the printed book, without change. The open exit brackets use in the book have been closed by MH. For this e-text version of the book, the footnotes have been consolidated at the end of the play. Numbering of the footnotes has been changed, and each footnote is given a unique identity in the form XXX. Changes to the text, character names were expanded. For example, second scholar was SEC Scholl. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. Updated editions will replace the previous one. The old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose, such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances, and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start, full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works, by using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg, you agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works 1.a. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLOF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying, or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e. Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee, or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works provided that, you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects, such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2. Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs, and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the Foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive, or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3. Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4. Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5. Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the Foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the Foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion, and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs, and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark work. And C. any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark. Project Gutenberg trademark is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged, and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, Utah 841-16808-596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact. Section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment, including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork, and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways, including checks, online payments, and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the U.S. unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, We do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus from the Quarto of 1604, edited by the Reverend Alexander Dice Dramatis Personae. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus, footnotes, the full Project Gutenberg license.